oh great, a Hulk and Iron Man movie where they team up. Except it's crap. Marvel was on a really good track record with their animated properties. They were making ground against DC's animated films. The Lionsgate movies are pretty good. I have nitpicks, a changed ending here, a plot issue there, but they are quality stories. So I was expecting that coming into this next line of films. Heroes United got Eric Radomski to produce. They got 2 of the music composers that worked on a ton of DC shows. The CG wasn't that great looking. It didn't do the movie favors, especially when I recognized these Photoshop textures they used for the cracks. And then retexturing Zack's body from Abomination, it's way too obvious, guys. But I can get past that if the writing's good. I enjoyed Lionsgate's Iron Man movie and Iron Man Armored Adventures while they didn't have the greatest of CG. But this movie, you really can't even call it a movie when it's barely over an hour. It seems the writers forgot that too much of a good thing is bad for you. One of the factors why the MCU became such a popular franchise was the way the films were able to balance drama, action, and comedy. This movie went into the negative zone when it came to its comedy. It screwed up nearly every character in the film, from Iron Man,
you know, that suit's kind of a collector's item,
to Abomination.
Maybe I overdid it.
Each one had some sort of bad one-liner or joke, and that also included Hulk.
Couldn't hear you with your mouth full of my fist.
The premise I thought was really good. Hulk is captured by Hydra, they use his gamma radiation to power up a bootleg arc reactor, it goes south creating Zax. Zax is one of Hulk's classic villains. We never get to see more of his villains thanks to the MCU not wanting to work with Universal. He's one of my personal favorite bad guys, so I was like, I really want to see this film. Okay, yeah, they changed his origin, Hydra wasn't involved originally, I didn't mind that, it's a minor difference. They mixed all these elements so that they could have Iron Man and Hulk be brought together, but everything else falls apart around this. First, their continuity doesn't make sense. There's moments in here like Iron Man and his Mark II suit, the silver one that didn't have good flight controls. Everyone recognizes it from Iron Man 1. So obviously this is supposed to be MCU continuity, but then you have Hulk that talks.
Good people of this town don't deserve this.
Marvel has done different continuities all the time, but you shouldn't reference something from the MCU if we're not in the MCU. Although it's kind of an incontinuity, after all, Professor Hulk was never explained in Endgame. This problem with Hulk is everywhere. Why doesn't anyone give a proper introduction to the different versions of Hulk? Lay it out for people who don't understand. This should be what's explained. Instead, the movie wastes its very short runtime for generic introductions of the characters.
Created by the accidental exposure to an exploding gamma bomb.
And various energy weapons as built and worn by its prolific inventor, Tony Stark.
This stuff is common knowledge. You could have given 20 minutes to showcase this different Hulk. Betty or Rick could have been used here. But they did nothing. Hydra wasn't even utilized properly. Honestly, any villain group could have done this plan. AIM, Doc Ock, Doom, nothing felt like Hydra. The 2 main bad guys were just jokes too.
I hate working for Hydra.
We heard that.
On top of the problems with not using Hulk correctly, the writers basically ran into this issue. If we do the traditional Hulk, we can't do the stupid jokes with Hulk and Iron Man. So they made Hulk, Professor Hulk, and Savage Hulk at the same time, which causes plot issues. One minute, Hulk is doing stupid things, like not jumping out of the power plant to try to avoid the explosion. Hello, Bruce, up, destroys buildings as he runs. The next moment, he's being Bruce Banner.
Is that a reactor? What are you eggheads doing? You're gonna cause a meltdown!
If the movie had only these issues, it wouldn't have been the greatest thing in the world, but I wouldn't be vehemently hating it. But this movie is filled with absolutely bad jokes every few minutes.
Your ugly mug scared off everyone, Abomination.
I'm having flashbacks from Incredible Hulk Season 2. At least She-Hulk isn't here to be screwed up again. That's Jason Aaron's job for the past 2 years. Hulk and Iron Man act like children. They have Abomination, Emil Blonsky say things like this.
Honey, I'm home.
Jarvis has dumb jokes.
Perhaps it is your armor that needs a system update.
They even make Tony break the fourth wall with his intro.
Worn by its prolific inventor, Tony Stark.
You forgot the part about how I'm a billionaire philanthropist and ladies' man.
This and the Wendigo scene, did you guys want to work on another movie and you couldn't? Now, I don't hate jokes. There are jokes in the MCU that did hit good. Homer in the 90s Iron Man show had jokes, but Homer there was being funny through his misunderstanding of humans. Even here, there are some jokes that do work.
I don't think so.
But you can't have everyone doing this every damn moment. Basically, Hulk's personality is the Hulk from the Superhero Squad show. That series is designed to be solely a comedy. Heroes United is supposed to be a regular Marvel movie. Now, I could buy the childish Stark if they used the Armored Adventures Iron Man. Him programming Jarvis to say one-liners? Yeah, that would work with Teen Stark if Christopher Yost was writing the script, but it's filled to the brim with nonsense. The pacing of the movie is also a major problem. Instead of character building that should be here, we have this scene showing off Stark's personal helicarrier preparing to get underway. Why is this in here? It's not a cool moment. It's not action-filled. It feels more like they put this in just to extend the length of the movie any which way they could. More reason why I think the two movies they made in this style was supposed to be some sort of TV series, and they just took the scripts. Even the movie's PG rating doesn't make sense. The dialogue has no mild cursing.
If you're not gonna help, don't let the door hit you in your big green butt on the way out.
They're all fighting robots, which is the most common way in having gory action without gore. Even Hulk gets no chance to fight people. These are common ways to keep your show in the Y7 range. The only things that really triggered the ratings was the face punches in a few scenes. That's why I think this originally was a Disney XD show. They probably made it PG to make it look like it's supposed to be for a larger age rating. People saw through this. The reviews were bad, so the sales of the Blu-ray were one of the lowest of any of the direct-to-video Marvel films. The planned second film, Iron Man and Captain America, never got a physical release and was just dumped on digital platforms. I never bothered watching it. I don't even recall anyone major reviewing it, and no further productions from this line were made. The movie is not a complete loss. The final act where Hulk and Iron Man start working together when Hulk's eyes were injured and Tony's suit being damaged, they mostly stopped with the jokes. They started acting like they were supposed to be. This is what the movie should have been like. Go in depth with them, bounce their personalities off each other, use a joke where it's appropriate. If the first 40 minutes had gotten retooled like this section, Hulk had an early fight where he had to help save Betty or Rick to show off Professor Hulk. Tony was busy helping out with some sort of problem while Rhodey, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and all were dealing with another issue back in New York City, so Stark stayed behind to do some repair work on his suits. They easily had 20 minutes of free time to do whatever, cut down on the 90% of the jokes, don't have Professor Hulk act dumb when you needed the story to work. This would have turned out better. I'm not even saying that if it was originally going to be a show on Disney XD, it's automatic bad. I don't care if you're aiming for a Y7 rating. Just be good. Build a story. Try to cover plot holes. There are two really big ones I got mad at. The whole misunderstanding between the guys was contrived. It was framed to make Hulk look like he rampaged on the power plant. A, why would Tony think that when this is Professor Hulk, not regular Hulk? B, Tony, did you walk here? Because I don't see how you'd miss the big glowing abomination escaping. He either bashed through a wall, which didn't happen, or he just jumped through the air, which you'd see no matter where you'd be coming from.
Ought to get a badge for that.
And when they figured out that Zax didn't want to leave the ship because he's short to ground if he did, and he's going after the helicarrier's arc reactor, they were like,
Can't you shut it down?
Shutting down the arc reactor would also shut down the turbine engines, sending the entire craft plummeting to imminent destruction.
I'm like, it's called doing a landing. Do that while you stall Zax. You're not in the middle of a city. The story requires you to be in the middle of nowhere so that the Wendigo scene could happen. Also, there's no people on board. Just let it crash. Tony, did you forget you can fly? And what's a stupid crash gonna do to Hulk? Make him grumpy? You're dealing with superheroes. You gotta take that into account. The argument against this is more stupid when the final fight is all about destroying the engines. Oh, so now that he already sucked the reactor, it's okay for the ship to crash.
But we gotta take out that second turbine.
So shoot it, Tony. You have repulsors in your arm gauntlets. Your ship isn't shielded against direct weapons fire. You don't need a full unibeam blast to blow up stupid thrusters. You want me to believe this? Have Zax envelop the ship with a barrier that reduces damage, and Hulk needs to destroy it while you deal with the ship's defenses, because ship rockets blowing the engines doesn't beat out repulsors. The movie was a very rushed product that had potential if they had worked on it more.